just got back from a Southern Colorado 2-gun match, and this is the match that I used my Tisas. This is the first match with this pistol. This is a 2011 made by Tisas. It is Turkish. I bought this pistol for a project, like a 10mm project, but I've got this 9mm upper for it, so I wanted to see how it would do in a competition. From the factory, these pistols have combat hold for the sights and not a center hold. Here's a visual indicator of what that means. All my pistols are center hold. This is the only pistol I have that's combat hold, so that was a little bit hard to get used to. Other than that, I used, for a rifle, just my standard 16-inch mid-length, good old, like, reliable standby. This thing never ever fails, and it's just like works really well with these matches. So anyway, let's check out the footage.
Are you ready? Stand by.
So I am shooting the 2-gun division. This is the first stage that we started on. It's got a nice little caltrop here that you can actually put a rifle on. You engage targets on the back of the berm. These are 3 hanging targets about 7 yards away or so. I went ahead and then used my rifle to take out the paper targets, and then part of the stage was really cool. There is a little board, you probably can't see it in this video, but you can't shoot unless you have both feet on this 2x4. That's your shooting position, so I thought that was kind of cool. First shots with this pistol, first stage, I thought I was going to do a little bit worse with it. I didn't do amazing, but it seemed to be shooting pretty well. I didn't really have any malfunctions of any kind. Then you run to this next section and take out the plate rack, and a couple of poppers, and then one distance pistol shot. The pistol shot was maybe 35 yards. And I shot the plate rack, the plate rack itself, not the plates, because the pistol shoots low for me. Anyway, I did get some decent third-person footage of a couple of these stages. I was coming off of sickness. I'd been sick for about a week coming into this, so I wasn't sure how I was going to feel. One thing I think I really need to work on watching this footage is definitely my footwork. It always feels like I'm going faster when I'm shooting, when in reality I'm seem like I'm going pretty slow. Come on, Turkey, you can do it.
Are you ready?
So for this next stage, we actually have 2 large blue poppers that you cannot hit, or else you get a penalty, which I thought I like these types of stages. But again, starting with the rifle, taking out the paper targets that are close, and then going to the more distant, again, like 60 to 70 yard steel targets. Then swap to the pistol. I had a slight malfunction there, just the slide didn't go forward all the way, but I was able to fix it pretty easily and go on to this Texas Star, which actually went down pretty easily. A couple of distance, steel challenge targets that I was able to take out, and then here's that section where you cannot knock the blue targets over. You have to be very careful with your shots, which I was able to clean it without a penalty there. And then I immediately have a bunch of problems with this activator steel target. Now for my nemesis, pretty much new-ish pistol for competition for me, and I have to go after a spinner. Spinners are rough. I think they're worse later in the day when your blood sugar is tanking, but this was early, so I was fine. I was able to get some decent shots on and knock it over. It was a pretty close-up spinner, which was good. Okay.
If you're finished, unload, shimmy clear. If clear, slide, hammer, holster.
Here's the footage from kind of a third-person view. I did use the barrel to stabilize myself, making the farther shots on steel. I've gotten significantly better at dumping the rifle And there you can see my malfunction again. Also, with this pistol setup, apparently the 2011 magazines will not fit my very old pistol magazine holders. I have some plastic ones that are pretty decent, and I did not know this until I literally showed up at the match. So luckily, I had a spare pistol and spare pistol belt, a whole full setup just in case this pistol did not want to work. And I stole the Molly pistol magazine pouches off of that and just attached them to my hip, and I just used those. So reloads were a little bit slower because there's like a strap involved kind of to keep the magazine in place. So I've got to move that around. You can see right here where I'm having issues with it.
Over! Okay. If you are finished, unload Jimmy clear. If clear, slide, hammer holster. Are you ready?
Ready.
Stand by.
Stage 3 here was interesting because you had two different types of targets. The turtle targets, what I'm shooting there, you can only engage with your rifle, and the square targets you can only engage with your pistol. So you had to be kind of careful with segregating those. I was able to clean the rifle targets pretty quickly, and then I switched to the pistol and started taking those out. This was a pretty clean Texas Star, except for that one malfunction that kind of ruined my tempo. Those are the only two malfunctions of the day, if I remember correctly. Hit the activator, knock those poppers, and move on to the steel. I did run this gun empty for the reloads for the most part. I was more focused on making sure the pistol was running properly and not completely optimizing the pistol routing through the stage. But it was a pretty quick stage, it's pretty clean, still managed to come in under a minute.
Stand by.
They were pretty charitable with all of the barrels that were inside the shooting area that we could use to brace off of. And I almost put the rifle into the pistol box right there, which is kind of funny. I don't think I've ever had a brain fart like that in all of my shooting. But I didn't quite do it, which was nice because that would have been a DQ.
Stand by.
Alright, this is the next stage, and for this one, I actually chose to shoot the entire stage with just a pistol. You could have used a rifle. There were some steel that you could take out with the rifle and more paper targets. I chose just to run the pistol the entire time. Less thinking involved, I guess. As you can see, the far off targets at the back of the bay, I was engaging those. That might be 45 yards with the pistol. You could have taken those with the rifle. Then I moved up a little bit, had to reload. My reloads here weren't very efficient.
If finished, unload show clear. Slide forward.
I feel like I started a trend with this because two other people decided to just run pistol only on this stage. Now, I don't know if it was the fastest, to be honest. It was probably a little bit slower if you could just optimally use your rifle for certain targets and then switch to your pistol. However, I wanted to see how this pistol would do, and I just kind of felt like just running a pistol for this stage, and it worked out just fine. I still came in, I think it was like 44 seconds or something on the stage. Had a little bit of trouble with the final steel targets, so.
If finished, unload show clear. Slide forward.
The final stage of the day, I did not get first-person footage because my camera died. So all I have is this, but I like this stage. it was pretty straightforward, but there were just so many different shooting like options you could go for.
Stand by.
I decided to start with the rifle, take out the paper targets with that. Then we transitioned to some far off, like, steel targets at the back of the berm. I was able to just kind of brace off of the barrels to get those knocked out. Then dump the rifle and switch to the pistol. This stage has a spinner, it has a Texas Star, and it's got a bunch of steel. But the spinner actually went over very easily. There was a couple of pieces of steel on this stage that were hidden very well, and several people actually ended up just missing entirely. A little preemptive reload to knock out a sneaky little steel piece there, and then finally end it with a Texas Star.